Welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. What I'm going to show you guys here is I'm going to give you an example of how, when I'm playing certain games that I play, how they will not only monitor my online activity or me playing the game, but also how they engage in remote monitoring and doing things to give me confirmation about certain things that I may say, not out loud, not to myself, but in terms of speaking out loud, using my mouth, but in terms of just my inner thought, right? The things that I say privately in my mind, and how they will do things to give me confirmation about certain things. Okay, so as I talked about before, the manipulation that's going on and how they are doing things, particularly in the persuasion programs. There's certain criteria, there's certain conditioning tactics and methods, like operant conditioning, right, which is a reward and punishment type of manipulative tactic, and also classical conditioning. So as a TI, as TIs, we have to become familiar with these terms. And just to show you that, again, everything that we do within the society, the condition has already built in, right? Now, in terms of getting the public to participate in targeting you, that's where the villainization process comes in order so they can try to justify what it is that they're doing to you, except they're not telling the public about the covert warfare and covert psychological warfare that they've waged on you before you've even realized, if you ever realize, that you are being targeted. Okay, so there's a game, excuse the music in the background, this is a game that I'm playing called The Division 2. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys an example. Okay, now you're not going to hear the police sirens in the background or whatever other noise, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my the sound effects that I have, right, to simulate exactly what they do when I'm playing aside, when I'm playing the game, when I'm doing a video, whatever, when I'm reading, these sort of things. So whenever I come to situations where, for example, you see over here, in fact, I think I should make my cursor show. Let me do this, because I need to show you guys this. This is important. Let's go here. Let's do that. All right. Okay. So let me just pause this here. If I take actually, it's not even be. Actually, I can't. But anyway, so you see, I'm looking down over here. There's like a staircase there. So I was seeing if I said, okay, let me go back, right? And then whenever I say, sometimes when I say the word back, okay, they will use the okay, meaning that they're back. I mean, they never left this. They always continue to target you. So I was thinking to myself, okay, you see that indicator, orange indicator, it shows you where to go. And I was saying to myself, I wonder if I can go down here. And then I remember, I said, no, I think that part is blocked, right? And I'm saying this internally in my mind, my own inner thought, okay? And as I said the word block right here, okay? Sometimes it'll be the police sirens also, okay? So again, this is my inner private thoughts, right? And because I'm microchip, again, gross violation of my privacy, that they are doing these things. Okay, so I'm gonna continue playing this part of the mission here. By these images. Okay, because I want you guys to. Oh, I did not want to do that. Shoot, I did not want to do that either. Okay, hold up, I gotta wait. Right. So Division 2 is about I guess it's about the release of a virus, right, that decimated. Ooh, this is I'm about to die.
Agent vital signs 0.
Wow. Okay. So, Division 2 is a game about a virus. It's a continuation of a game about a virus that was released in America and decimated the U.S., right? And then you also have invading forces, right? This is from within the U.S., right? And so what I'm doing is there's certain missions that you got to go through, certain criterias in order to advance. And the missions I keep replaying because I really didn't want to pay the additional money to advance forward. Okay. And if you the game, I think I got it for like $10, something like that, maybe even less, maybe even free. I might have gotten this free because on Epic you go to the Epic game store every month. They give you at least, not every month, but every 2 weeks I think they give you like 2 free games. So over the years I've accumulated quite a few games for free. Okay, and I'm talking about very good games that would otherwise you have to buy, sometimes $60 games they give you free. So again, and then sometimes in this game where it says agent is dead, right, they'll do the okay, meaning because I'm the agent, right? But again, I'm not an agent. But it's that I just said because I'm the agent, and I hear okay, but I'm not an agent.
Network signal detected. Sounds promising.
But again, is to engage in certain things, right? Certain subliminal messages. Okay. I talked a lot about how the CIA has embedded its agents within police departments all across America, right? Particularly in the 1980s during the crack cocaine epidemic. And then we saw that again happening after 9/11. Okay. And again, these things are being perpetuated on the public, right? This sort of violence, because if you read the intelligence briefing when it comes to 9/11, you'll see that the CIA had advance warning of an attack, of a pending attack being planned on the American public. Okay, and they let it happen. They didn't follow up on it. Okay, they literally let it happen. Okay, so again, this is how you see the same thing on the November 7th, right, where the Israeli government, kind of rest on its laurel, because also I think they had advance warning that there may be an attack, and they let it happen, right? So these people in power, talk about the dark triads who are in power, right? The civilians, we are what you call collateral damage, okay? Or they will say the casualties of their war, okay? And it is their war, okay? This is white supremacy here, okay? As I said, white supremacy. That's what it is. Israel is a white supremacist state, and it's also an apartheid state. America is a white supremacist nation, right? masquerading, and it's also it's not even a true democratic country. They're not about equality, okay? And if they say they are about equality, they're not about equal outcomes. All right. And I was watching a video today, Professor Jared Ball, who is a brilliant professor, right? He wrote a book on the myth of black economics. It's called the myth of the black economy. That's what it's called. Okay. And he's absolutely right. It is a myth, because there is no black economy that's beneficial to the vast majority of black people. There's a white economy that's beneficial to the vast majority of white people. So I totally get what he is saying, and he says a couple of interesting things when it comes to, how people are treated, right? And how they separate people, right? How poor whites are separated from poor blacks, when if they really want things changing for the better, right? Poor whites will align themselves with poor blacks and middle class and working class blacks, right? To make things better, right? For everyone. But because of racism and white people believe wholeheartedly in racism, even though for the vast majority of white people, white supremacy really don't benefit them as much as they think. Now, they do get benefit from white supremacy, okay, but not to what they think, right? Not to the extent that they think. Again, when you look at particularly Dr. Cornel West, who's running for president, and as I said, Dr. Cornel West, they'll use the sirens too, because again, he is the most viable candidate, right, out of all of them, and also RFK Jr., right? But they're not even social media, not social media, the mainstream media is not even giving them the exposure, right, that they should have, or they should have gotten. I just need to come up here for a second. Ooh. Okay. This was part of my strategy to get to higher grounds. All right. But anyhow, those other political candidates that are running for president are not even being mentioned as much in the media. So when you look at like MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, it is either Trump or Biden. Okay? Trump or Biden. That's it. Okay? And to me, I think out of all the presidential candidates, I think Dr. Cornel West, though he, and I can understand why the powers that be are afraid. They're afraid of anyone who can awaken the minds of the American people. Okay, and I'm talking about not just, when I say the American people, I mean that's include every ethnic group in America. Okay. But now let's talk about the class, right? So we know those at the elites, they don't want any sort of political candidate or presidential candidate or any matter of fact political candidate, whether it be for those in the state legislators, in the federal legislators government. They don't want anyone who is have a close connection to the people. And if they do, over time, they will change their ideology. They will manipulate them. Okay? And a big part of it, like I said, is using silent sound. Using silent sound. So what is silent sound? Silent sound is technology based on the radio. We put it like this: the electromagnetic spectrum, right, which includes radio wave, microwaves, right, and being able to manipulate our minds wirelessly without having to implant you, unless they want direct control of you, then they will implant you. Okay, I know this sounds,
and let's see what we can find.
like it's sci-fi, but it's not. And I said the word sci-fi, I didn't say far-fetched. Okay, because the technology exists. They know it exists. They've developed it. They've created it. All right. And like I said, if you just do your research, and you will see that Russia, for example, the bombardment of microwave frequency in the American embassy in the 1960s. Okay, that's in the 1960s. Now, I want you to understand, right? So that you are well informed. Take down this guy here. So that you are well informed and you remain well informed. Let's get the sirens down. Of the truth and the reality. And so what they've been doing, I talk about the reality, they'll always use the police sirens, right? And again, how they use coercive measures, psychological coercive threats, or direct coercive threats, in order to prevent you from speaking about these things, right? And it's their agenda to make you to use fear to manipulate you into acting as if these things are pretending that these things don't exist, because the fear of the fact that they may have manipulated you or try to set you up in some way, or have set you up in some way and trying to blackmail you, right? Or try to keep you quiet, try to control you. Okay, this is the hallmark of the dark triads who are in positions of power, or whether they be in the security agencies, whether they be in law enforcement, whether they be in corporate America, right? Whether they be in in certain businesses, private businesses.
Cancelled.
Right? This is what they do. This is what they do.
You're able to recover to our tech guys,
Okay.
just in case.
It is a way of seeking out those within the public, whether it doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. All right, if they consider you a threat. So if you are a black person and you are what they consider to be what they will say a black identity extremist. Now, there is no such thing as black identity extremists. All right, black people, we don't have the military might, and we don't go up blowing up things like white people do to even be considered to be black extremists. We don't, and that's the truth. But the language that they use in order to manipulate the vast majority of people in America, when it comes to black people who believe in the freedom for black people, so we can walk the street, not be accosted by these white racists on the police force, so our children can play without being shot down in the street, right? So that we have the same, though they say we have the same rights as white Americans and other groups, obviously we don't. Let's take a look at the airmen in Florida who was shot by a racist white cop, right? Who he opens his door. Yes, and he's a legal firearm carrier in Florida. You have the right to bear and carry on, particularly in your home, and was of no threat to this officer, right? But again, the officer gave him a command, and before he gave him the chance to put his weapon down, the officer shot him multiple
Civilians
times.
in distress.
Okay, within 2-3 seconds of him opening the door. Right? It's because they don't want black people to have the right to bear arms. They don't. This is why when a black person says, "Hey, I have a firearm," they shoot you. They'll shoot you. We've seen many examples of this. Okay. And so they don't like black people exercising the rights that, we're supposed to have. Okay. They're the only ones that want to be allowed to have the right to bear arms. Okay. But yet they'll call black peaceful protesters extremists. Okay. Again, I want you to understand the mindset, the sickness. And when I talk about white people relationship with black people, and particularly in this country, is one of a psychopathic and sociopathic nature. It is how they view us. They view us as prey. Okay? And psychopaths, when they go after their prey, it is to do what? First, it is to disable them in every way. Okay? Not only that, but it is to create a game. All right? And the game is to terrorize their prey. Their game is to make their prey feel and think and also be helpless. All right? So T.I. was calling me from California, and she sent me a couple of links about these white young teenagers or young white adults engaging in, and I want you to listen to this and listen carefully, okay? These kids, or these young people, are engaged in creating assassination lists, okay? And then using these so-called what is it? It's kind of like a liquid pellet gun, right? But when you get hit with it, it hurts pretty bad. Okay, so they are creating what they call assassin lists, and then showing up where their targets are. All right, so whether it be in Walmart or in a mall or some place that person is going to, and assassinating them. Right now, again, it's not really assassination because the gun is not a gun that fires bullet, but it does fire a liquid pellet that hurts pretty bad. So you had an incident where you have a young Hispanic woman and her female, I should say, and her boyfriend in the Walmart parking lot, and they were attacked. So they threatened her boyfriend, and she calls her dad. Okay, her dad goes to her. He carries a real gun because he doesn't know what's going on, and his daughter is saying that they're shooting at her, and he shoots one of the young white male, and as the young white male was in the car taunting him driving away, he fires into the car, and the bullet paralyzed this young white male. Okay, now the father gets charged with attempted murder. Okay, but why am I saying this? Because again, how they make things into games, right? How they turn things into game, and how, because of these and why they make it into a game is, of course, because again, it's to make it seem as it's fun, right? Even though they can be real dangerous consequences, right? Based on this game that they love to play, kind of like with us as TIs, they always laughing in your face, try to make it into like a game or make you believe it's a game that they're playing with you, and it's not a game, because we've known TIs whose lives have been totally destroyed. Matter of fact, all of our lives are being destroyed, right? For the most part, okay? And there are TIs who, like I said, may have a different mindset than me or you, and have taken these threats and have actually retaliated and to defend themselves and protect themselves. Okay, and these kids are being radicalized. right? And the best way to radicalize them is to have them engage in these things like that. So where did these ideas come from? Creating assassination lists? And then, you know, because I'll tell you what, if this was black teenagers that were doing it, right, they would have been shot dead, right? They would have been, and they would be by the police, okay? And on top of that, this has been going on for quite a while, and the police departments have not done anything about it. Why? Because these are white teenagers, white young men. You know, even though they claim this harmless, right? They're not firing real bullets, but people don't know that, okay? And then when you're threatening someone, okay, that's another thing. And and it's a gang of them, okay? So again, I'll ask this: where is the research done on white young men, young teenage boys also, all right, looking into their DNA to find the trait that makes them susceptible to being serial killers or being assassins or being radicalized and being ultra extremely violent, being super predators, right? Super predatory assassin makers, right? Where is that? Where is those? Where are those talking points, right? Where are those scientific research? Okay. Where is it? Where are those research? Where are the scientists that are taking, you know, stealing these white young teenagers' DNA, right? Using their DNA for who knows what, okay? Where is it? That's what I want to know. But again, that will never happen. It will never happen. Why? Because these are young white teenagers. Okay? And when you're living in a system of white supremacy, right? White kids can get away with things that your kids who are black or Hispanic or Asian, even a lot of Asian people like to identify themselves as being white. You're not. They're just using you. And you fell for it. Right? Because you have an affirmation for whiteness. But again, I don't blame you. Okay? This is why I do what I do, to make you aware of your psychological conditioning. Okay? Because ultimately, they will use you for their benefit while giving you a little bit more benefit than the rest of us. But once they have accomplished what they want to accomplish in terms of using you against black people, they're going to do the same thing to you. And guess what? You're not going to, as me as a black person, why should I stand up for you? Why should I say anything when you are part of a tool being used? Okay, though you were manipulated, but something should have said to you that, hey, you know what? This don't seem right. You know, and what happened, you know, when they finish using me, what are they going to do? Right? To me also. So when they are looking for sympathy from other groups of people, they're going to say, the other groups are going to say, you know what? I'm not putting my neck out for you. I'm not doing it. Okay? Because you have shown me that they can use you. If they use you against black people, they can use you against my people. Okay? And so we need to really have an understanding of how we are all being manipulated. Okay? And, you know, become much more aware, awakened. And the sad part is, like I said, you know, it's
detected.
And particularly for us as TIs, is the fact that, not the fact that no one wants to believe us, is that there are people who feel totally powerless to do anything about it because they themselves will be attacked. All right, and like I said, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It takes a very, they take very special people to stand up, right? Very, very unique kinds of people. Okay, to stand up for others and to do what's right. Okay. Even when the legal system is saying that it's okay to do that, right? That is perfectly fine to do that because it's written in the law, and we know that laws are not always right. Okay, just because something is a law. Remember, slavery was a law, right? You had the right to enslave black people. Okay, that was a law. That was part of the law, right? You had the right to treat them as your property, own them. You can kill them without any sort of repercussion, right? You won't be punished. Okay. Just like how morally this war on the Palestinian people that's taking place, and how Western countries are not doing anything at all.
We've got what we need.
But if this was another nation that was doing this to another country, you know, the West would be like, yeah, he's a war criminal, arrest him. Right? With Netanyahu, who is a war criminal, according to the International Criminal Court. Right? And what does the United States do? As a matter of fact, what do these congressmen and congress people do, particularly the Republicans? They attacked one of the judges on the International Criminal Court. And guess who it is? It isn't the white judges on the court, but it was the black judge, the black female judge. Okay? So I want you to understand that even though you have other white judges who've also said that Netanyahu is a war criminal, they're not attacking those judges, right? They're attacking the black female judge. All right, look what happened here in Congress. You know, the Jews are running campaigns against black candidates who support Israel. Okay? But they are running candidates against those black politicians. Are they running candidates against the white politicians? No. Because again, I want you to understand, when I say Israel is a racist state, it's a white supremacist state, it is an apartheid state, I'm not saying this based on my own personal opinion or my own personal feeling. It is what they have shown us, what they have done. Okay? How are you running political candidates against black politicians that supported you?
Detected.
And I cannot understand why black politicians would be supporting Israel anyway, particularly when Israel has ran sterilization programs against black women. Particularly when Israeli police officers assaulting black service members for Israel. These black men sign up to defend Israel and are being attacked by these racist white Israeli police officers because the fact that he lives in a neighborhood that they don't think he belongs to, or he shouldn't be living there. All right, and again, you can go online and look at these things. How they are killing young black Israelis. Okay. And yet, these politicians, these black politicians, are not even addressing it. They're not bringing these things up. And that's why I said, as black people, we need to wake up and remove these people out of office. Vote for young black people who love black people. Okay? who have black people best interests at heart, and who will not succumb to the political pressure of just going with the norm of remaining quiet just to get along or to go along. America, particularly this government, need radical change. And if you are a white person, Asian person, stop voting or putting these people back into office. We need younger people, people who are willing to, work out their differences and do what's best for the American people. Okay, there needs to be a bold stand against white supremacy and racism, because what they have been doing, again, is what I call the silent takeover. And the use of the military, the use of the private military industrial complex that are run and owned by racist white people to start a war in which they believe that they can win, and then these United States will become a dictatorship. Okay? That's what it's going to become. We've seen how Republicans are willing to play dirty, are willing to compromise this nation and its so-called ideal. And when I say so-called ideal, I mean so-called ideal. As I said, the word so-called, the police sirens, because they don't want me talking about, these things. Don't be political. Be happy that you're on disability, even though we try to take it away from you as much as we at every chance we get, or we can, or we try to, right? Every single day. Right? Even though we've experimented on you, even though we've slandered your name, even though we've destroyed your image, okay? Even though we've whitelisted you, all right? But don't be angry. Don't get political. Don't speak about what this country has done to you and people like you, right? And also black people, and be happy. This is what they want. And they dupe the public into participating in targeting us as TIs, so that when they start doing this and I've said this over a decade, that because I've recognized the pattern, right? And how did I recognize the pattern? Right? I had help. I would like to think that in terms of being awoken to what was being done, but again, when things are being done to you, still in a state of confusion, right? You still cannot think. I cannot get your thought together, because that's what it's meant to do. This is not meant to make you think. It is meant to your negative conditioning. Is not supposed to is not supposed to make you think, right? Only to act and believe. Okay. This is what they have been doing. And like I said, they've started, black people, we are always going to be the first to be used as a tool for experimentation, for manipulation, and then, or for whatever sort of conditioning, programming they want to do to the society. Okay? They do these things to us first. And then they implement it into whatever other groups that they are now going to implement these things to or on. And you guys hear me say this all the time, okay? That when you see these things are being done to black people and you don't stand up and you don't say anything, when it's being done to you, then don't expect other groups to stand up for you, including black people. Okay? And I wouldn't blame other groups, and I wouldn't blame black people either, including myself. But again, we are all being manipulated, even white people. Okay? But because again, the people who are in power, well, have power, have the wealth, have the resources, are white supremacists. They're very elite. Here's an interesting statistic that I've learned from Professor Jarrett, is that he said that there are 750 people in the United States that have over $500 trillion in wealth. Think about this, 750, I think it's 750, I'm not quite sure, people, white, mostly white, that vast majority white, I should say, own over $500 trillion in wealth.
Take a breath. This is what we can do.
Okay.
When we work together.
But this is capitalism, and they feed you this narrative that capitalism is so great, but it's not. And then he starts breaking down how they use a certain section of the public, particularly business owners, right, particularly black business owners, and the myth of the black economy. And he's absolutely right. And so these black business owners who may have own business, is that they start to take on the capitalistic mindset also. Okay, not even putting any extra thought into putting back into the community. Okay. Now also, when I'm going down the ladder, if I'm going up the ladder, if I'm going down the ladder, if I'm going up the ladder, so it's either one or the other. Or if I'm going up or down, like I talk about this, right? The negative conditioning that is meant to condition you into this emotional roller coaster, right? If you let it affect you in that way, okay. And if it does, I'm not gonna blame you, but you have to understand what's being done, and so you have to neutralize that emotional manipulation, okay, and realize that it is being done to basically make you believe certain things. So you have to be very aware of these things: psychological manipulation, psychological conditioning. Okay. So this is what they do. All right. And like I said, the reason why I'm doing this video is again, you know, just to expose what's being done, because I can't even play this game in peace. I can't. Okay. Talking about the monitoring of my thoughts is very blatant. And you know, when I'm playing this game, most of the time I'm speaking to myself with my own inner thought, right, my own inner voice, and they will use the sirens or the call horn to confirm certain things. You know, I mean, it gets to you. No matter how many times you may build up your defenses, what have you, that you can never get used to it. You just experience it. It will affect you. All right. And when I say get used to it, not get used to it in a good way, but in a bad way, meaning that you know it's going to happen and you know there's nothing you can do about it. So what I have to do is, you know, nullify that angry emotion that comes from it. You know, because I know it's not going to serve me any good purpose, right? And it's just going to lead to, you know, health issues. All right, like I said, they use this to create health issues within you as a TI because of the stress, because of the that the stress factor, which is a big thing. Okay, stress leads to all sorts of illnesses, from heart disease to hypertension, all these things that then to stroke, all right, having a stroke because you're so stressed out. All right, so stress is used as a weapon. Okay, I want you guys to understand that stress is used as a weapon. And sometimes when I go to these things, these loot boxes, depending on the color, they will either use that or sirens. Again, that's to tell you. Again, the whole color theme also plays out in these games too. Now remember, right? You have government, prior or ex-government agents, right? Who work for the CIA or the NSA, who are being recruited into these game companies to design games, particularly games like this that's based off of warfare or that sort of thing. Okay, that's where a lot of the concepts comes from the minds of those who've worked within the security agencies, in the military, the private military sector. That's why you go and look at Facebook. The majority of Facebook CFOs and chief executive or internet executive, or have technical directors, technical managers, right? Chief technical operators. They come from the security services. They are ex-CIA personnels, ex-NSA personnels, and again, they are still acting as they're non-official. They're still non-official agents. This is why I can recognize the psychological conditioning in the movies, in the games, right? In which your subconscious mind cannot pick up, because when they create these things, right, it bypasses your conscious mind and it beds itself in your subconscious. It beds itself in your subconscious mind. And what that does is that you're being programmed. And so now you're going to act out in ways in which, or believe things that you would never believe before, because a big part of your behavior is based on your subconscious programming. All right, and a lot of times you're not even aware of it. This is why this is, again, you look at the black population, particularly younger black people today, conditioned to menticide, right? Things that are normal to them, you shake your head and be like, how is this normal? Right? And then, white people look at black kids and young black men and females, or even middle-aged black men and females, and they say, look at these people, right? Look at these, but they fail to understand that we are conditioned a certain way. And don't worry, it's happening to you too, but in a different manner, in a different way. But it is happening to you also. Okay? But it may benefit you and your children the most, right? But it will be detrimental to black children, Hispanic children. So I can understand why white people would say certain things. All right, because again, if they were the power minority in this country, okay, and it was being done to them and their children, right? They will, and other groups will be saying the same thing about them, right? Look at these white kids. Look at these white people. Why are they behaving like this? And I say this all the time too, mine is when I say that, it's based on the fact that how racist they are and how oblivious they are that, you know, they benefit greatly. I shouldn't even say they're not oblivious, I should say, but oblivious to the fact that they don't think that the U.S. government is doing things negatively to black people, black and Hispanic people. But as long as they're benefiting, though, that's all that matters. They'll ignore everything else. Okay. So, with that being said, let me do this. Yeah. So with that being said, I, you know, just wanted to do a video on this again, just to show you guys how they engage in these sort of things that they do. And as these guys are walking out with you know, I hear the police sirens, right? So, but why are they doing this? Because they think I'm a revolutionary, right? But listen, we all can be revolutionary, right? Revolutionaries are born in
Weather's been hot lately.
societies where people are being oppressed,
Weather doesn't get too bad on me.
people are being treated unjustly. Okay. And so how do they stop revolutionaries in the future, even today, without assassinating them? You create other means of control. Okay. That's how they do it. And using technology, they can do it.
Convoy in proximity.
All right, you take away their financial resources. You manipulate the people around them, and if they have kids, you threaten their kids. Okay, these people are evil, and they need to be. There need to be a change. There need to be a change. All right. Anyhow, I'll talk to you guys in the next video.